grew it, she canned it, and then we would eat that in the wintertime.
Okay. So would they sell what they canned for food, or was that just for food to feed the family?
For canned,
How
she
did
would
how did
just,
your parents make money? Did they make money from farming, or was the farming just to feed the family?
the canned, to be honest with you, uh, what did I do then? I know we grew a big garden, and she did the canning of the stuff. Oh, I don't think I had a job at that time.
Okay.
We lived on what she would we would grow in the garden. She canned it, and then that's what we had to eat was what she had canned.
Okay.
Yeah, boy, but that back then you didn't think too much about it.
Yeah.
Jobs was maybe what you grew in a garden. That was your job, was to plant, was to grow what you could eat.
Yeah.
Because, let's see, well, I worked at a farm. Anyway, we didn't have I did have a job, different jobs, but it was mostly what we ate. Catherine grew in this garden and planted, and she canned a lot of what we ate in the wintertime. She canned it, and in the wintertime she would open it up, and that's what we ate.
So what were your parents' names? What were your parents' names?
My
The
parents?
name of your mom and dad.
Oh, my parents grew up in South Carolina,
Okay.
right in Florence, South Carolina, on a farm. They both grew up on farms, but they were a few miles apart. I think they lived about my mother's family, and my mother grew up on a farm, and I don't know how they did it, but it was about 20 and 30 miles from where my father grew up on a farm.
Okay.
But somehow they got together. And then when they married and lived in I remember now, a little place called Cades, 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 South Carolina.
Okay.
That was the post office. That was
Okay.
the post office address. Cades.
And what was your dad's name?
James Walter.
James.
Yeah, we called him Walter.
James Walter
And then
Thigpen. Okay.
one of my brothers, they named my oldest brother, the same one was also James Walter.
James Walter.
They called him James,
Okay.
but his full name was James Walter, the same as my father.
What was your mother's name?
Sally.
Sally.
Sallie.
Sallie. Sally.
Tomlinson.
Oh, Tomlinson.
She was a Tomlinson. Tomlinson.
Tomlinson was her maiden name.
Yeah.
Okay.
And how they got together, I've forgotten now.
Do you remember her parents' names at all? The Tomlinsons?
Tomlinson?
Yeah, do you remember the Tomlinsons, like
No.
her parents' names?
No, my mother's maiden name was Tomlinson,
Okay.
and of course my father, James Walter,
Yeah.
was James Walter Thigpen. But
Do you remember your father's parents' names?
My father was James Walter,
Yeah.
but they called him Walter.
Do you remember your grandparents' names?
My grandparents on my father's side, oh, can't remember.
That's okay. I was just curious.
Yeah, it's but James Walter, and my mother was named Sally. I remember Sally Tomlinson,
Yeah.
and I remember the farm that my mother's father was using at that time, and it was just they had small farms, about 40, 50 acres.
Okay.
And I don't know, I have no idea how my mother and father got together, but I know they grew up about 40, 50 miles apart.
And you don't remember like the street or the P.O. box
I
or
don't remember how they got together, how they met.
yeah. Was it in church, you think, or something else?
I think it was a meeting or something. I think it was a church meeting, yeah,
Okay.
that they met. And then when they married, my father was living on a farm. They both grew up on farms. But my father, I think his father had a farm, and I think he had a brother or two. Anyway, I think it was separated. It was divided, and the farm where I grew up, the land where I grew up, was a farm that my father got from his father.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And as well as I remember, it was only about 60 acres.
Okay.
But my mother, she was a type of, she grew up on a farm, so she grew just about everything we ate. She had gardens.
Yeah.
And she was a canner. She canned, put them in jars. It wasn't cans, but it was put in jars. And that's what we had to eat in the wintertime.
Was that stored in the cellar in the house, or where was that stored at?
Yeah. We'd grow it in the summertime, and they would take it and can. My mother would can it, and she canned hundreds of jars.
Wow.
So that's what we had to eat in the wintertime.
So what did you do for meat? Would you trade your vegetables for meat, or would you hunt?
For what?
For meat, for like beef or
meat?
chicken. Yeah.
Oh, my father would grow hogs, pigs, and let's see. One time he grew like a heifer.
Okay.
We'll call them heifers, and but mostly what he would grow would be pigs and hogs.
Okay.
We didn't. It's the one heifer that I remember that he grew, but he would grow it, and my mother would can it.
Okay.
And then that's what we had to eat in the wintertime. We ate that in the summertime, fresh, but then my mother would can what we ate in the wintertime.
What grade of school did you go through? Did you what? So when you were going through school,
School?
at what age and what grade did you graduate? Was it ninth
Oh.
grade or 10th grade?
We
or-
went to a school where I grew up. I grew up on a farm, and this it was a little store. Well, it had two stores, like a crossroads. The school was there. There was a high school and an elementary school, and the two little stores that we got all the things that we had to eat.
Okay.
The stores we got from those two stores, and so that's what we grew up on. Was just
Okay.
what we grew up on. What we my father would grow it in the summertime. Well, my mother would too. She had a big garden,
Okay.
and she grew up, and so she canned a lot of stuff. So that's all we had to eat in the wintertime was what she had canned.
Yeah. So what was the house like? Was it a 2-bedroom or a 3-bedroom?
It was like a small house that had a front porch. It had a porch across the front.
Okay.
It was open.
Okay.
It was just an open porch.
Okay.
And then there was 3 bedrooms in the house, and there was a kitchen, and the bedrooms, we had 2 fireplaces,
Oh, okay.
and that's what we used for heat.
Okay.
My father would cut wood that we used for in the wintertime to put in the fireplace for heat.
Okay.
And so in the wintertime, that's what we had to eat was what my mother had canned. Because, well, that was just it. The people would grow up, it was on a farm, and that's what people, they planted big gardens, so they actually ate, they planted and made what they ate for themselves. In other words, they grew what we ate. We didn't have money to go out and buy. We didn't go to a store and buy stuff. The only thing we would buy, salt and pepper
Okay.
and sugar,
Okay.
and things like that, things that we couldn't make.
Yeah.
Everything else we grew. In the summertime, we ate what we grew. And then my mother would can a lot of stuff for wintertime.
Okay.
So, and then my mother would just simply open up something every day. She had hundreds of cans of stuff, jars, mostly jars, not cans. But that's just the way it was then, and that's what we lived on.
When you were growing up at school, did they have any sports that you played, or were
Yes.
you mostly working at the farm?
They
or the
had,
house?
yes, but the school that I went to, they had what they call the elementary school
Okay.
and a high school.
Okay.
And I went to the elementary school until, I think we'd go to that to about the 6th or 7th grade.
Okay.
And then we would go to the high school.
And did you play sports when you were at those schools?
We had baseball,
Okay.
softball.
Okay.
I didn't have any football.
Okay.
It was just mostly just baseball.
Okay.
That's what we had. And my job was center field, outfield,
Okay.
center.
Okay.
That was my job. And that's just the way it was. It was the way we grew up.
Yeah. Did you like playing in the center field, or was there a different place or position that you would like better? Was that your favorite, playing center field?
Yes, that's what I liked.
Okay.
I liked center field, and that's where they put me
Okay.
because I could catch a ball pretty
Okay.
well.
Were you pretty fast, or were you fast when you ran? When you were running, did you run pretty fast compared to
Oh.
other kids?
Well, I could catch them pretty good, yeah.
Okay.
Otherwise, they wouldn't put me out there. But that was my position, was center field
Okay.
and baseball. We didn't have football. I think it was considered too hard on the players.
Yeah.
But we had just we did have softball and baseball.
Did you work on the farm to help your parents out a lot?
Yep, but we worked on the farm in the summertime.
Okay.
We grew gardens. We grew all kinds of vegetables and things. My father grew acre or two of beans, so that's what we sold, beans,
Okay.
string beans. And we sold potatoes, sweet potatoes.
Okay.
We grew sweet potatoes on the farm, that's what we ate. And we grew just about everything that we ate
Okay.
because we didn't have any income. My father didn't have a job. And the government didn't give you anything, so what we grew what we ate, and the only thing we would have to buy was things that we couldn't make, like sugar, salt, and pepper.
So for Christmas, when Christmas came,
At Christmas,
yeah, what kind of presents would you get at Christmas?
there wasn't much that we got. It was just things that my parents would try to find something
Okay.
for presents. And but as well as I remember, we didn't go to the store and buy stuff because we didn't have any money to do it.
Yeah. So was it mostly clothes, or what would it be
But
for
they
a
would
present?
my mother would make clothes for me.
Okay.
She would buy the cloth and make shirts and the clothes that we wore. See, there was 11 in my family. There's a big family.
Wow.
And my mother and father was very busy.
Okay.
And my mother, she was a good cook, and she had to cook a lot for us to eat. And in the summertime, we had gardens. We had big gardens. And then my mother would can stuff. We called it canned, but it was in jars. And that's what we had for wintertime.
So what was when you were a little boy and you thought about growing up, was there a dream that you had, like to play baseball when you grew up, or just to get a good job? Did you want to be a farmer when you grew up, or do you remember what you wanted to do when you were a young boy?
When I grew up, my job was stuff on the farm.
Okay.
My father would tell me what to do.
Yeah. Did you want to be a farmer when you grew up?
No, not really.
Okay.
I got one of my sisters went up to Pennsylvania, to Philadelphia, and my youngest brother, he was a couple years younger than me, and we decided to go up to visit her. So we got it was a bus. We used a bus and a train. And I remember we went up to visit her, and we had to ride on buses and trains to get up there. Well, when it came time to come back, my brother wanted to come back, but for some reason, I liked to stay up there.
Okay.
So I stayed up with my sister and in a place called Bustleton, Pennsylvania.
Called what?
Yeah,
Bustleton?
Bustleton.
Okay. Bustleton, Pennsylvania? Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, that's it's a suburb of Philadelphia.
Okay.
Yeah. It was Philadelphia at that time was, of course, it was a big city then compared to, for me, it was a big place. And Bustleton was a suburb. That's where my sister lived.
Okay.
For some reason, she got a job up there. And went up to visit her with the intentions of coming back with my younger brother. But when it came time to come back, there was a job that came up there, and my sister said, if you want to stay up here, you can stay with me and work at this job. So for some reason, my brother came back by himself.
Okay.
So I stayed up there, and that's where Catherine worked with my sister.
Okay.
So that's how I met her, Catherine.
Okay.
So when I went up there to work with, he was a printer. Somebody coming in.
Coming in.
Hey.